Clash of Clans podcast, OG, episode 12.
Skilly beep 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 skilly beep.
And welcome back to the Clash of Clans podcast. I am Scotty827 here hanging out with my friend Tipdawg 20.
At least I'm a friend this week and not a hostess.
Yeah, I know. And I replayed that because when I'm editing and stuff, I don't have to do a lot of editing, but I have to start it over, check the beginning, and I had to catch myself because I'd probably listened to that like 10 times at that point.
I have had a hostess job before.
Have you?
Yeah, so I worked at Cracker Barrel back when I was in college, and I was the person at the front. I guess technically isn't the male version a host?
Yep.
I guess, but it was the hostess position because it was mainly females who would walk people to their tables, and I was a server. But every now and again, they would need a hostess.
Yeah.
So I guess I was the hostess with the mostest.
There
and
you
they
go.
would be like, Tip, can you go
Somehow
up?
I knew. Destiny has found you.
So there it is. It's out in the open now. Tip is a hostess.
And it has been a host of a week. In the Clash. That was real lame attempt at grabbing for that.
It made me laugh. That's why we do this, right? To make each other laugh. That's what the best part of it is. I love it. Brightens my Sunday evenings every time we talk.
Otherwise, it's like I just need to carry a laugh track around throughout my regular life because it's like
all the crazy stuff we say.
Yeah. Just crickets.
Most of the people that I talk to and hang out with understand my brain and my sense of humor. So they either roll their eyes or they give me a courtesy laugh or something like that.
Really? I just get a blank stare. It's really weird. We're like a week post update. So like last week we were here and we were talking all things about the release. It was... So we record Sunday nights. I thought, let me try to get it done for Monday morning because we were thinking, hey, here's the update.
Oh, yeah, that's right. It did come out.
And it didn't come out. And so I thought, well, let me really get on this. I can get this out a day early because I aim for the Tuesday deadline. It's just a busy couple days. So, and then I got it out Monday night thinking we beat the update,
we beat it by like 36 hours.
Yeah. Like, and I'm thinking to myself like, in the morning, it's going to be ready. Whew, good thing, they waited a day. So it was Wednesday, right?
Right. Wednesday morning, I think.
And your thoughts post update?
I got to remember what all was in the update. So we had the Angry Jelly.
It's this like,
it's been such a busy week, man. It's been crazy.
But still, that's what I was thinking today too. Like, okay, it was update week. Okay, and I mean, we sat here that was a supersized episode that we had to cut off. Right. Because we were going through all those different things.
So I remember, the Angry Jelly, which I already started, I think mine's going up to level 3. We did get a new level to the monolith, which I hammered. We did get a new...
You got hammered this week. Okay.
But not too bad.
We're going to have to talk about that.
I get hammered on one drink if we're talking about that side. It's one and I'm done. One and done. I don't know. I can't function.
He's running around topless.
Streaking, which actually Supercell decided to streak this week too, didn't they?
Oh, yes, they did. Yeah, that was new too. Where'd that come from?
Hey, have you ever streaked before in your life? I don't.
Oh, yeah.
Streak. Have you really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yes.
In your
20s.
Okay, I was about 30s. To say like in your crazy youth or 30s is getting up there, man.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I should picture you. I don't know that I want to go down this exercise, but do I need to picture Scotty827 with a hairy chest and hairy
see, here's
legs?
The thing is I think if you're gonna streak, like, and this is around like Friends or whatever, shock value kind of thing.
Yep.
When it was probably a little bit more culturally appropriate or whatever. But see, if I was gonna do that to just shock people or, because we're all having fun or whatever, it was just kind of that time of life. I just would do it, but then I'd pretend I was doing something completely normal.
Just walk around.
Yeah, like
Yeah, it's
one
so
time I was
funny.
at a friend's house, and it was like a hot tub party, um, like, in the garage, like, they rented a hot tub. It was like a 30th birthday or whatever, and good friends, you know what I mean? So it wasn't
Mhm.
and, um, everybody was just having a good time, and it wasn't, like, inappropriate for their whatever,
Yeah, it
but,
makes sense. Yeah.
and so, like, I just walked in, and people were kinda lounging around, and because we were getting in and out of the hot tub, and I just walked up, and I'm like, uh, "Hey, you guys have any more taco dip?" And it was just like the the look on their face, and everybody starts laughing or whatever, but,
Oh, that's hilarious in the moment. So I remember my
yeah,
dad telling me a
it's
story
part of a
one
joke
time.
to make it funny, like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm
Remember I
willing to
remember
sacrifice.
I remember my dad telling me a story one time when he was on a bus on a high school baseball team, and said that they dared one of the boys to moon the cars behind them on the bus. And so they did it, like, they all pulled down their pants and mooned the cars that were following them behind. And evidently, one of the boys who mooned the car behind him had, like, a birthmark right there on one of his cheeks. And
Oh,
so they were able to figure
busted.
out who it was and totally
The
busted
mod
him.
squad descended.
That's
I would
hilarious.
never have done it that when I was, younger, but it was, yeah, it was a
I would have
crazy
gotten in
time,
such
man.
big trouble if I'd done anything like that, so I didn't even attempt.
Well,
Well, this conversation's gone way off the
here's
rails.
the thing. Life is short, and,
You gotta live it, man.
yeah, there's
Mm.
always there's always time to learn a new skill.
Which is why we play Clash of Clans, to learn how to do it well, which
This
actually
keeps us from streaking.
I just watched your attack. You just had an amazing Super Bowler 3-star on a nearly max Town Hall 14. How about you tell me about that a little bit and what you were feeling whenever you were doing that attack?
Uh, I felt confident and
Mhm.
cold inside,
Very cold.
like everything melted away, and there I was, ready to just wreck this base.
Mhm.
No anger, pure, cold determination. Um, I've been practicing that. You guys have been really helping out. The
Mhm.
podcast has really been helping out with it.
It was
Uh,
an amazing hit, like, I'm not gonna lie. It was amazing. It was
I
really good.
I think the saying is like, "A broken clock is also right twice a day." And so that's kinda when I walked away from that, that's kind of the feeling I got, like, "Okay," you know, like, just like if somebody got hit by, like, an airplane wheel,
Mm.
and you're like, "Well, how couldn't I believe it happened to me?" I mean, it's gotta be something good happens like that too,
Mhm.
but no, I th I was pretty happy with that attack. I really been working those funnels, like, since we've
Mhm.
been talking about it, just how much troop space can I get, boiled down, so and I still think I overkilled it, but I got the Flame Flinger,
Yes. Which
and
you can get one of those in your CC as it is though too, and you can get a max one in your CC.
yeah, but I'd like to but I
You like to take
to
your own?
well, just because I need to practice with it. So, like,
That's true.
I've been wanting to bring them into war for a while, but I have real no feel for their range, what's gonna take them out, what's a good strategy. Oh, I lost that one early. So I got some this week, and so I start playing around with it. I can't believe the range on the thing.
Yeah, it's amazing. So the only defenses that outrange it are the monolith, which at Town Hall 14 you don't have to worry about, starting at Town Hall 15, the mortar, and the expo. Like that's it.
Wow.
It outranges everything else. Now there were some bugs when it first came out to where it would line up awkwardly and then like an archer tower could shoot it, but they took those bugs out. So those are the only three things that you have to worry about. That and then Teslas. So funny enough, the very first Clash of Clans YouTube video that I ever did was on testing for traps and Teslas for your Flame Flinger. Like that's the
Re
very
Yeah,
first
I
YouTube
remember you
video I ever
talking to me
did.
about this.
I'll have to send it to you. It's amazing at
You're
how
like
I
13 years
started.
old. You're like, "Hi, I'm here with my flame flinger."
My flame flinger, guys. I like my flame
You
flinger
got
because
you
this
got
does lots of
braces.
stuff. It's really cool and awesome.
You're at a science
So this
fair.
is how you use it.
I'll send that to you though, so that way you
Yeah,
can
I wanna
watch
see
it.
it. I wanna
'Cause
see it.
it wasn't too long. But yeah, my very, very first YouTube video, funny
That's
enough as that is.
with your high school diary or something like that, yeah. So, yeah, so I started playing with that, and I've been using that as one side of the funnel, been working the other side of the funnel and trying to figure out different troops to minimize it down, and then, being very careful not to being very careful to put the bowlers down before I drop a hero, and then with the healers, because I've been losing them.
So
Uh,
once you get your warden up, and I know since the last time we talked, you got it up to 40. Is that right? So you've gone 6
yes,
levels in a week?
7. I
7 levels in a
I
week.
think it was 7. It might have been 34 last week.
I know you've loved these events because you've been getting all of the Book of Heroes with the event medals, right?
Yep, and I had a bad day, so I treated myself to,
It's
uh,
okay. It's
a
okay.
hero. Well, because 'cause you're sitting at 39, and it's not the prettiest number, so I'm thinking, "Let me just even it out at 40," so I went and did that. Yeah, and that makes a huge difference too.
Mhm. So
Uh,
once you start getting up, I would say you can start now. It's just going to take you a little longer. But for instance, on the one side of your funnel, which you did, it was beautiful. Like you did a great job. You used a Yeti and
yeah,
a
it was a
couple of
lot.
bowlers. You can use your warden and start playing around with a warden walk to funnel that corner once your warden gets to the level that you're comfortable with.
Well, and I had a question on that because we were talking about that for my second attack, uh, which was exact same, but I only got 90% on that one.
Only,
Um,
oh my gosh, only 90%. This is
well,
much
I mean,
better
but
than
like,
my 56% one star that I did today.
yeah, those 1 stars though, it really seems like you're gonna go a 1 star is like a real hard attempted 3 to me. Like if you're doing a
Yeah.
creative attack, like, and you only get 1 star, or like you're doing a precise attack and you only get 1 star, it's like most of my epic fails are 1, or not epic fails, but
Most
just
of your
button
best attempts were
beaters.
1 stars.
Yeah, most of my best
I see
attempts are
that.
like 1 star 98%, 1 star 90, because it's like I'm just on the cusp of like it all coming together. And so I was kind
Yeah.
of thinking it was a lot about, well, I know it is, but just some of these attacks this week in war and in the wild, it's just like I just need a little bit more steam, like the heroes, uh, and whatnot, just a little bit more. And
Mhm.
and so I put my RC down again because I was thinking, like, after we talked, I was thinking, maybe I'll just do books of heroes. I've got these pets to go up, but I got her down for another level.
Mhm.
Um, and I'm just like, no, I've gotta keep going on
So,
some of
I'm
them.
I'm gonna be coming out with that video, and I really wanna get your feedback on that because this the idea that I brought up last week of getting your heroes to a certain level and then never putting them down again and just relying on books of heroes for the rest of your upgrade time. I have 2 videos that are coming out first before that, and then I'm not sure if I'll do that next or if I'll be bumping up against the beginning of the month. We'll have to see how much time I have, but I'm really curious to get your feedback after I do all the research and stuff on that because you're a perfect example of a situation like that. Like, do you just leave your heroes up and start focusing
Ah,
on other things or not? You know?
well, and I want to just go with the book of heroes. I'm only doing books of heroes on the warden
Mhm.
until he's up there, and then the queen, and then the king and the RC I can live without, especially the RC because I'm still not super used to her,
Mhm.
and if I can pop 1 or 2 levels on, if I so, like, during the week, my Monday, Tuesday, Wednesdays are super busy, and so if I can pop her on when I'm just not busy, not gonna notice her, I'm getting really close to, like, being in the range of a high RC. Like, it's not she doesn't have 95 levels left,
Right. I
you know
think
what
she
I
only
mean?
has 55, if I remember
Oh,
right. Like, she's not even so the king and the queen have 95 levels, and then
yeah.
I'm pretty sure the RC is only 55. I can't believe I can't remember that, but I'll have to look that up.
Yeah, and I was just at 13 Town Hall 13 where it was 25, and I think
Mhm.
so for me, it might now at Town Hall 14, it might only be 35. So I'm just
Right.
like, "You know what? I can do that." They're coming out with these books of buildings, events, more and more events.
Mhm.
There's always something going on, uh, with, like,
Oh, so
builder
it's only
potions.
45.
45. Yeah,
Yeah.
and she's at one of those heroes where if it's not that I should chase the top first with her because she's really the closest hero to the top that I have probably.
Right, she'll be the
Maybe.
first hero that you can in fact, actually, on my strategic rush base, my RC is already max at Town Hall 14, and my Warden will be max at Town Hall 14 in, like, 3 days,
What
and
are they?
then,
What's the max on those?
55 and 35 are
See,
max
that makes me
at
feel
those
better.
levels, and then my king, I just looked, my king is at 59, I think, and my queen is at 62. So
Okay.
definitely by the time that I know for a fact, I gotta do the math on it, but I know by the time that my king and my queen reach 75, at that point, I'm definitely gonna be done because I'm only 20 levels for each my king and my queen away from max. And then my warden is only 10, it will only be 10 levels away from max. And then my RC will only be 10 levels away from max as well. And it's a little like it feels a little strange,
To
like
be
thinking
close?
about that to be so close, especially based on the fact that I still have 2 town halls to go. And like at town hall 12, I think it is, for example, the warden goes from level 20 to level 50, or maybe it's town hall 13.
Ho
Between town hall 11 and town hall 13, I think there's 30 levels if I remember right.
well, I kinda feel like if you're gonna be maxed out, it will just depend on how close I get there.
Right?
Like, if I'm coming up close behind you, they're gonna increase the levels.
Mm, well, and you got to
They're gonna
consider
keep
that
me this
too.
is like an event horizon type
Yeah.
scenario where you can own I'll never get there. It's just right there.
Well, I'm curious what you think about this strategy that Supercell's using where literally they're introducing upgrades faster and faster and faster. And granted, I hear people complaining, "Oh, I'm never going to be max. I'm never going to be max. We just got to get used to
Then they'll
this."
complain that they're maxed, and there's nothing to do.
Yeah, I mean, that you can't make anybody happy, right?
Yeah, you
So
have to keep the game where you're always progressing, and so,
I,
like, if you're at the end, you have to keep stretching it out
so
and
I,
making it more.
what do you think is the optimal time though? So, for example, the most recent update that we had, evidently, those are going to be the final upgrades for Town Hall 16 before Clash
17?
Worlds. No, for Town Hall 17 afterwards. But there will be no more defensive or I think offensive upgrades, and there might be, and I don't
Well,
know
when is
about it.
that?
So for the next 6 months, we're not going to have really any major upgrades for Town Hall 16. And then I'm assuming they're going to introduce Town Hall 17 after Clash Worlds, which I think is in November. So is that a good time period? 6 months
Well,
for everybody to catch up?
I bet you they're gonna let everybody fill out their, hero equipment. That's what I'd imagine.
Mm. Give people 6 months. Well, and whether or not they introduce more. So I'm not sure if you watched it, but they put out a video called Inside the Builder Hut.
I saw that, I
Supercell
didn't get a
did.
chance to watch it yet, though.
I watched the first 20 minutes or so, and honestly, they didn't say they weren't saying anything different than what they've been saying for the past 3 months. Like, oh, our communication has been great. We're gonna put more ore into the economy. We're gonna still introduce equipment, but maybe at a slower rate. But they did say that the common equipment is done. Like they're not going to introduce any more common
N-
equipment,
Now
and
it's
they wanted
specialties.
a few. Yeah, exactly. They want specialty items that work for specific attacks, like the Warden's Fireball, for example. Perfect example. Where you're going to be able to do very specific niche attacks using that piece of equipment, and
Yep.
that's what they're wanting to introduce in the future.
And probably more pets. Maybe
More
not.
pets. No, yeah, definitely more pets. I think that, but I do think that they have to figure out how to monetize that better. Because like I don't hear a lot of chatter going on about the angry jelly and how everybody just has to have it on their king or their queen or whatever, because in order for people to gem it up, which is where they're making their money from new things that are introduced into the game, they have to create this, oh, I gotta have it. But
Yeah.
also on the flip side, if it's so, oh, I gotta have it, then they get accused of making Clash pay to win. So it's
Yeah.
this really fine balance that they got to do, which is why I was curious if this is the final upgrade for Town Hall 16 for the next 6 months. That will give a chance for everybody to catch up before Town Hall 17 is introduced.
Well, did they say it's for that or just for Town Hall 16?
Right, just for Town Hall 16.
Well, good. They just got that. Just kidding.
You're-
But I mean, no, but no, like for my daily life this week, it was like not much difference, like
Mhm.
with the update. So maybe when they're saying that, they're just mean like, hey,
Oh, okay.
the
I get for
next
just
up,
for Town Hall 16.
yeah, maybe the next ones are like, hey, these are coming. Maybe a new pet, you can unlock this many at or something to like
Which would be
rebalance.
nice.
Because if you're gonna get ready for another town hall too, right? I'd imagine you'd have to kind of rebalance.
The
Like you
lower
just
Town Hall levels, like the timers and
Yeah,
stuff.
like, I don't really think, like, you would just, I don't think they just add a chapter on, but they adjust all the other chapters, so that way it's still within a certain time limit.
Well, I think they're looking at that because they have to keep the entirety of the player base happy and not just the players that are at the upper levels, like at Town Hall 16. And
Probably
one
draw
thing that
things
they did
lower.
say is the majority of players are at Town Hall 12, like a huge amount of players are at Town Hall 12. Well, nothing new has really been introduced to Town Hall 12. Of course, hero equipment. That was huge. But I mean, it's pretty much been the same at Town Hall 12 for years and years and years. So how can they excite this, huge conglomerate of players that are kind of stuck in the middle town hall levels, and where can they make it more fun for everybody in order to encourage them to upgrade and play the game more, yada yada yada, all of that. So I don't know the answer. I think it's a very fine
Streaking.
balancing act. Streaking. Which, what did you think of that? Have you struck, have you streaked at all, on any of your accounts?
Uh, no. Well, what do you mean streaked?
So evidently, the way that it works is you have to complete a new challenge every single
Oh,
day.
yeah, that thing. Okay. Okay.
The
I
first day was
misunderstood the question.
60 a 60% 2-star. Second day was a 75% 2-star. Which I'm not even bothering on my lower accounts because all my heroes are down anyway. And I'm not going to be able to do whenever it starts getting to triples and get 2 3 stars and get 3 3 stars in a row, and whatever the next levels are going to be, I'm not going to be able to do that. But I am going forward on my main account. But then there was the bug. I'm not sure if you heard about the bug or not, where it was not registering. So on day number 2, I did all 8 of my Legend League attacks and then went to the streak challenge and found out
Oh,
that it didn't
yeah.
register. So I had to
Because
go
you
all the way
didn't
back
go
to the
in there
beginning, which one
first.
day, all the way. It feels like I just said all the way.
All the
One
way.
day I went back and I had to redo them.
So I had to, I just gemmed one today. It was kind of like I saw yesterday. I got the second days.
Mhm.
So I guess what we should say is we are talking about the streak event for April 2024
Mhm.
is we travel through time here. And if you're listening to this in the future. And so this thing pops up, and probably in the future this happens more often. But you have to do a challenge, and then when you do the challenge, you do a daily challenge, you get more, what is it, loot? League loot?
So
50
at the very end, I think it's 3,000 ore,
3,000.
3,000 shiny ore, and then if you do the streak, so it's 7 days of a streak, if you get every single day and complete the challenge, which, get a certain percentage 2-star, and I'm sure I don't know what they are yet, but I'm sure that it's gonna be the next one's gonna be get 1 3-star, and then the next one may be like get 2 3-stars, and then the next one may be like get 2 3-stars in a row. The more that you complete, then the higher percentage you get of the 3,000 shiny ore. So the first day, if you complete it, you get a 10% bonus. Second day, I think is you get a 20% bonus of that 3,000 shiny ore.
Well, we get 15% extra resources from your league loot
Oh,
bonus.
okay, perfect. Yeah, I wasn't sure exactly what it was.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I was wondering too, because I barely had been able to glance at, because it just really came out of nowhere
Mhm.
from my perspective. Um, so like, yeah, so now I'm at a streak bonus of 20%, which, so that must mean like war loot, right? Or
Yeah,
is
I'm
it
not sh
just, oh, league loot,
is it 20% extra league loot, or is it 20% of the
league
3,000
loot.
shiny ore that we get? Oh, okay.
Oh, I bet you I bet you the shiny is what we get, and then we get from our star bonus or attacks, we get more.
Yeah, could be. Not really sure.
That's what, because that's what it says right underneath it. It says,
Okay.
15% league loot. And that was my question, was what is league loot? It doesn't even sound real when I'm saying that word. League
I
loot.
don't know. Like, I don't see that.
Um,
I'm looking at it, it just says 15% streak bonus.
Look at that little info right next to it.
I'll have to press the info.
If you open it up, there's like
Oh, yeah, bigger league
rewards.
bonus multipliers and other rewards.
Like if you go to task, so I'm on task 3, and then it says the task, get 2-star attacks with 90% destruction to unlock this tier. And then it
Mm,
says rewards with a 15% streak bonus thing. And then there's little I. And right next to that it says gain 15% extra resources when I click the I button from your
mm.
league loot bonus.
So, yeah, I guess it's all of that then. It's a good idea, I like it.
Yeah, I mean, something cool. Uh, Again, and maybe that's just because we were kind of dialed in on the TH16 stuff. So for most of the other players, I guess they weren't really, kind of
Yeah,
maybe
because
seemed like a balance update.
nobody got next level monolith. Nobody got the next level eagle. Nobody got the next level clan castle. That was
Yeah.
all for Town Hall 16 players,
And it was just that, really, like that chat thing.
right? Which I have you used that at all? The at feature?
No, I have not yet. I'm
So
still getting used to like the reactions. Still, like I'm still
yeah,
LOLing. You know what I mean?
I don't think that it really works. So I think what it does is that if you have notifications on for Clash of Clans, which I don't because I don't want to be notified every time
Oh,
somebody raids my base or whatever,
yeah.
or war has been declared, I don't want to be notified. So I don't even have that on. So therefore, I'm not even gaining access to the new mention feature within chat.
The thing is I don't really like those notifications either. The war. I just
Right.
think like if you don't shut off your notifications on your phone for most things, you're gonna go insane.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just keep them off. Otherwise, I think for me, the only thing that I really saw was that uh war sign up. So we were talking
Oh,
about
right.
this in the clan chat
Mm-hmm.
where we were talking about the upcoming CWL and whether or not who was going to be in.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
And we were
right.
talking
Mm-hmm.
about how to organize that, right? And I said that would be a good thing to use for for CWL, right?
Yeah, that's a good point. And then I didn't know whether you couldn't use it. Like, I didn't know how it worked. Like, I pushed the button just to kind of see how it worked, and then I deleted it immediately because I didn't want
Yeah.
anybody to start pressing stuff and
Panicked.
me accidentally start war.
Yeah.
So I was like, so I didn't do it. But I do think if if it's just a sign up feature, then I think you putting that in clan chat and just saying, hey, pinning a message saying, hey, if you want to be in CWL, sign up right here. And then that way we'll know whether or not we have 30 accounts that we can put in the next CWL.
Okay. So for that, we'd want to know like, hey, that there's 30 people. Like, so I guess my question is, last time when we were doing this, right? I put in 15. I should have put in 30. But wouldn't we just put in 30 anyways? Or would we want to know who exactly is going to be in, and not that has their war status, like regular war status set out?
Right. So we would spin everybody who's in the clan into CWL. So if we have 43 members in the clan, we spin all 43 into CWL. We
Oh,
select everybody.
and then we could do the daily sign up to
Yes.
switch out.
And then for the first day, you could put that little thing up and say, hey, do you want into CWL for the first day or whatever? Or do you want it at all? And then people could click whether or not they want in the first day. Now, ideally, you want to have as many you want as many people to be able to play as possible, and we're definitely getting to the point to where we might have to consider doing 30v for CWL, so that
Yeah.
way people can get at least 8 stars, so that way they get the full complement of CWL medals at the end of CWL week, so that way they can buy more hammers and stuff with. Because if they're not spun into CWL, number one, they're not going to get any medals. And then number two, if they don't have the chance to attack and get stars, then they're only going to get a minor fraction of medals of what they could get to if they got at least 8 stars. So because at 8 stars, that's the minimum that's required in order to get the full complement of medals at the end of CWL.
This could be helpful. I was looking at this too. And when you do send that, here's wish list Supercell. Now we have that button. Uh, I would really like it if we could add in customize that message. Because when I'm trying to
That would
send
be
this,
nice. Well, because it wouldn't necessarily have to be for war. I think it says for war, right?
yeah, for
Sign
the
up for
next
war.
war. And now I want to be, so I just, as you were saying that, I'm like, yeah, that's going to work really good. Let me see if I can customize the message. No, it just pops up, sign up for the next
Mm,
war. But I
it would be
suppose if we're
nice.
just doing that CWL week, we do it the day before or ready, to select the first however much or
Mhm.
however we do it. And then do it every day since, or because I was thinking it'd almost be easier if it was, does anybody need to sit out for the war?
Oh, that's true. If
Instead
you
of like going, all right, here's the 15. All right. If you are going to be, if for some reason you're not able to do your attacks tomorrow, please flag so we can switch you out.
not a bad idea.
It'd just be if they could just switch that around a little bit, then we should be able to like use it in a lot of more different ways.
Yeah, and we could also just ask people to adjust their shields, so that way we know whether or not they wanna be in CWL or not. I mean, that's the other
Listen,
option that we have.
yeah, but I think the easier route is just to say, hey, Supercell, go in, change the game code, fix
So
it
that we
for
can
us.
change the message, yeah.
Yeah,
Just for
and then
Scotty 827.
yeah, just so we could do that way. It'd just be easier for everybody else.
It would be
So
nice. Then you could use it for other cool stuff. Like, cause
yeah,
so we do friendly wars,
you could vote
we
in
do
co-leaders.
Yeah.
You could do rule things maybe.
Yeah,
Well, I
so
suppose you can
go
kind of do that now with like a pin message react.
Yeah, I guess you could if you like this, but the thing with a pinned message, although I guess you could say put a laughy face if you don't want this to be in effect.
Yeah.
Click the thumb if you do, or something
Yeah.
like that.
Choose your pizza
Or
topping.
I guess there is is there a thumbs down emoji? I
I
don't
don't know.
know. I don't know that
This
there
is
is or
this is
not.
how optimistic we are that we don't know if there's a thumbs down emoji. We
So,
just go through life looking at the best.
I try to, man. Sometimes it's hard, but I try to look at the best in everything
What
if I
else can you
can.
do? Otherwise, you're gonna be looking at it and it's gonna be shit.
Yeah, it's true. Very
So
true.
we can circle back around to my war attack
Mhm.
that just it really did. I do have to say, if I didn't know I was attacking, I would have think that was not me.
It was
Because
really good.
it just
I was
went
very
really
impressed.
it just went really well.
Mhm.
And so that was kinda cool to see, but I did say in clan chat, you guys are really making it having an impact on me. Uh, Watching replays, just seeing seeing you guys chat about stuff, seeing just the community. And we've been getting new players in, and it's kinda been my fault where I haven't really been broadcasting a war strategy, right?
Mhm.
Because we were sitting around and there was just a few of us and we just kind of had a rhythm. And then on the other hand, we also have a changing war strategy where it's like, who knows? Are we going to get tons of 13s? Are we going to get a bunch of really high, like our weekly wars have been kind of
Right.
mixing up and down. And a lot of that too is that we've got people coming in. And so the war weight changes. Um, and so it was kind of a time to also like reflect on like, yeah, how are we attacking, in war? And so if you're thinking about coming to L and you're going to be hanging out in L and attacking, really what we've been kind of doing is just trying to. It seems like the war policy has been, in a lot of ways, use your best judgment.
Yeah, just do the best you can and don't be a dick. Like
Yeah,
that's pretty much it. Like so don't be, a town hall 15 that goes down and smashes a town hall 9, you know?
yeah,
Don't do
like
that.
use your best judgment with
Yeah.
whatever you've got when you come in there because the war field's changing. And we've got people from different clans, different abilities, and
Mhm.
nobody commanding and saying, no, you do this, you do this. Because if you start doing that, then you have to do it through the whole war.
Yeah.
And
It
like you
gets
come
annoying.
in, yeah, and you come in and then you're going, well, where you're waiting, where should I hit? And 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 I kinda mentioned to GCBC too, I think no, or it was Rage. We were kinda just talking, like, in chat and kind of, like, normally of, like, globally in terms of, uh, L. It's like, if you are used to being in a clan, like, where it's very war-oriented, this is very organized, um, there's probably a lot of pressure too where you can't really experiment with stuff.
Yeah.
And, if the expectations on you in that type of clan is gonna be different. So, like I just said, if you wanna try something that you wouldn't normally try in a different clan because you're war go for it, you know, use your best judgment kinda thing.
Yeah, and I
Like
like that. It feels good.
yeah, because it's so I've gotta formalize that in, probably just put it in writing, and
And then
generally, like, if you come in and you're, TH 13 or 14 and, or 12 or 11, 9 in some cases, and you just look across and it's like, "Okay, I wanna get in here hopefully earlier in the war so I can see what I can get. The bigger guys can come down if they need to clean."
Mhm.
Um, and D-Max had been saying over and over, "Go lower, go lower."
Mhm.
Um So for me, I just look at it and go, yeah, where are we at? Uh, should I drop and
Yeah,
hopefully get a more certain and then let everybody else up top and I kind of look up top too and say, hey, well, there's 1 star, 2 stars up top, but
yeah,
sorry,
and
what was it?
if you look at your direct across or even close to you, and then we've done this, and if you're like, man, I don't. Max has even said this, like in chat, like I don't think that I could 3-star this base across for me. D Max has been great on. He's like hit lower, like
Yeah,
basically go the highest that you think you can go where you can still get a 3-star in, where you can attempt a 3-star. If you don't get the 3-star, that's 100% okay. We
Yeah,
don't
no big
care.
deal.
But just go the if you have to go a little bit lower to try to get a 3-star, or obviously, as I said, we don't want Town Hall 15 smashing Town Hall
Yeah.
9s. But if a Town Hall 15's like I've looked at the Town Hall 15's, I'm about 99% sure there's no way that I can 3-star any of these. Well, go to the top Town Hall 14, or go to one of the mid-range Town Hall 14's and hit it and give it a good solid college try,
Yeah, nobody's gonna approve your attack. And the thing is you go, hey, like for me, I go, I'm working through this attack in the wild, running through it, trying it. Okay, I'm gonna try this comp. I go in thinking, yeah, this is my best attempt. It doesn't go well. Oh well.
Yep,
Right?
exactly.
We
Exactly.
You tried it, and you gotta be able to practice somewhere too a little bit. Like
Yep.
in those real world conditions with the CC. So I think that's what's actually really been helping me, too, is like there's that constant pressure. And then like today when I got done, I'm talking with Chewy again. Oh, what do you think about that funnel, that I
Mhm.
did or whatever?
Yeah.
And
He has some great suggestions.
yeah, because nobody expects you to be perfect.
So my big question to you, Scotty, is whenever you go pro one day in Clash of Clans, will you still be my friend? Will you still talk to me?
Of course, forever. I'm just having a really hard time imagining that scenario.
It's a totally different
Uh,
world for sure.
it's the event horizon. It's always out of reach. It's just right there. No, I think there's always gonna be I don't think I'll ever be the the player that is, like, super pro going, "It's like this, it's like this, it's like this." I really enjoy being curious about this stuff.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? I don't think I'll know more things, and I, obviously learned stuff earlier in the game, but, um, yeah, I think I'll always be that player, and partly because I'm doing the podcast, I'm not chasing the very, very end and to sit at the very end. I'm here for the ride,
Yeah.
right? And
And that's
then
what life's about, right?
yeah, and then there's
Like,
something else that comes out, and I get very stuck in the things that I like,
mhm.
right? I wanna hold on to that troop, and I'm gonna use it. And I'm gonna use it because I like it. And so I have to get over some of that stuff too, but I am now working with that Flame Flinger.
Mhm. You
So,
liking it?
yeah, but tell me about it. Like, what are the bases I've been paying really close attention to the, mortars. I've
Mhm.
been well, I guess just learning the range on the thing, but
Mhm.
is there some things with it that it does that people might not know that
So what you need to think about when you're
let's
using your
pretend you're explaining this to an idiot,
your no,
hypothetically.
not at all. 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 So the thing with the flame flingers, you have to test for traps. So you can see the base and you know that the only 3 defenses that outrange it are the monolith, the expo, and the mortar, right? So you can see those on the base. And if there's no expo close by and there's no mortar close by, and we're Town Hall 14, so we don't have to worry about the monolith, then that means the only other thing that we have to worry about is Teslas and also giant bombs, because a lot of people will build a base and put a giant bomb on the edge, which takes off a huge chunk of health on your
Enough.
flame flinger. So you kind of have to test for that. So I think of it a lot like funneling, when with funneling, the goal is to use as few troops as possible. That way you have more troops for your main push. So it's the same thing testing for your flame flinger. So I like to take, there are 3 troops that I really like to take, and that's 2 barbs and a hog. and you don't have to do it this way if you don't want to, but I like taking 2 barbs, I'll put them on, the empty spaces that are around the
Yeah.
area where I want to drop my flame flinger. So that way it will trigger the Tesla. So the Teslas will pop up and be like, oh crap, if I had just put my flame flinger down, the Tesla would have eaten it up. So I put a couple barbs down. And then the second thing is the hog. And the reason for that is the hog will jump the wall, and the Tesla is triggered by 6 tiles. So as long as the hog is within 6 tiles of wherever that Tesla is hidden, then it will trigger the Tesla. Now, the third troop that I will use, but it's kind of overkill, but it's the only way that I can think to do it sometimes, is the Yeti. And the reason that I like using a Yeti is not because the Yeti's amazing, but because the Yeti mites are amazing. So I don't know if you remember, but like in our first or second episode, we talked about the Yeti
Yeah.
mites having troop space.
I always remember that.
One of the beautiful things about the Yeti mites is, as the hog does, they jump over the walls to get to the defenses. And when they do that, as long as they come within 6 tiles of the Tesla, then that will trigger the Tesla and the Tesla will pop. So the Yeti won't be able to get close enough to trigger the Tesla, but the Yeti mites will. So you have to look at the corner that you're coming into and to say, okay, can I get away with just 2 barbs and a hog? Because that's 7 troop space. That's all that I need. I don't need to use any more. Do I need to put down maybe 1 barbarian on this side? And then there's a mortar. So I'm going to put down a Yeti, and then I'm going to put down my flame flinger behind the Yeti. And remember the 3 troop or the 3 building AI type of thing. So that
Yep.
works with the flame flinger. I'm gonna put the flame flinger right where I know that it will target the mortar first. So I put down my Yeti, and then the mortar starts targeting the Yeti. So it's not targeting my flame flinger. And then I put down my flame flinger directly behind the Yeti, so that the flame flinger will target the mortar first, and then the mortar's taken down and it's no longer a threat. And then you have, an archer tower and an AD and a warden statue, all this stuff that's just free range for your flame flinger, because this base builder only protected that corner with a single mortar, and you're able to take down a ton of defenses with that flame flinger because you're creative and how you tested for Teslas and traps, and B, how you tanked for the mortar. So that's kind of how I like to think of it. And then the other way that you can do it, and this is kind of next level thinking with the flame flinger, is you can protect it with a warden walk. So you
I was
put down
wondering that.
let's say that there's an expo that's within range, but it's a really juicy section where you can get a lot of value with your flame flinger. Well, you put down your warden, you put a cocoa loon down, and then you put the 5 healers on the warden, and as either it will immediately be within range of the expo, or soon it will be within range of the expo. And then once the expo targets the grand warden, well, then you can put your flame flinger down, and your flame flinger can just destroy everything until eventually maybe it targets the expo, and the expo will never target the flame flinger because it's locked onto your warden. Your warden's not in any danger because your warden has the healers on him, and he's just sitting there carving out the funnel for the rest of your troops to go down. Now, on the other side or the other corner, you might have to do a Yeti or, whatever to funnel that side in order for your super bowlers to go down the path that you want. But those are some creative ways that you can think about using a flame flinger, and you just have to play around with it to see what works best for you.
I'm just going to change my name to Overkill.
But you
Because
have to figure
I
it out,
must overkill every funnel. Because I was laughing as you're saying that, because I'm going, maybe I don't need 50 troop space
You're
for one side of a funnel. Maybe
Mhm.
that'll help my attack.
Well, and if you think about it, so one thing that you're going to get at Town Hall 14 is an E-Titan.
I
And
got one of those.
E-Titans are really good to go in front of your Super Bowlers.
What?
And they're not used all the time, but it's a great troop
Well, I'm putting one in.
because number one, it kind of works like a golem in that the defenses will shoot it and has a lot of health, which gives your a chance for your Super Bowlers to walk in behind it and just completely destroy everything, just massively wipe out everything while all the defenses are targeting that E-Titan. And then the second thing that it's really good for is any skelly traps that pop up. So the E-Titan's aura just zaps them quick. So if there are 2 skelly traps that pop, they're dead in an instant. When before, if you don't have the E-Titan, it'll take the Super Bowlers a couple seconds to work through those skelly traps. And during that time, maybe they're getting hit by an Inferno Tower. Maybe they're getting hit, by the Eagle shots, and they die a little bit early because they weren't able to get there quick enough. And then the other thing that the E-Titan is really good for is CC troops. So, of course, it's going to completely tear through archers because archers are so low health, and the aura will just zap them away. But the other really cool thing is E-Titans are really, really good for lava hounds. In fact, they're amazing for lava hounds because the E-Titan attacks ground and air. So it will attack the lava hound in the air. And the beautiful thing is when the lava hound pops, it zaps all of the pups immediately.
Ooh. I was wondering this today because I was doing my war attack and I was thinking, what am I gonna put in it if I'm using the Flame Flinger now? Because I was using totally log launcher.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking, what am I gonna put in? I put in Root Riders.
Mm-hmm.
But I was looking at that E-Titan, and that was one of the things I was meant to put on the list for this week to say, what the hell is it? How is it used? But you're telling me it's like right out in front of the Super Bowlers, or like so the Super Bowler tech, it's the front of the wedge.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so
no
you
healers, no healers on it.
So the healers are on your warden for the warden walk. Or, for instance, with yours, since your warden's not that high, you're funneling using a Yeti on one side, a couple bowlers, Yeti on the other side, a couple bowlers, and then your super bowlers up to right. Whatever you're using to funnel,
Witches, right? Minions.
Let's throw it all in there.
I usually have about 25 troops left for the main attack.
So it's just order wise. So if you already have your warden walk going, then the E-Titan's the first thing that you put down to draw your warden. So we talked about the warden's aura. Yep. You put the E-Titan. So I typically will put down the queen first, the queen or the E-Titan, but you put something to draw the warden over. If that's the E-Titan, that goes down first, and then the Super Bowlers go in directly behind the E-Titan. So that way the E-Titan is whatever is targeted first. If CC troops are coming, they're going to target the E-Titan first because it's the first thing that their AI can see. So they pop out of the CC, they're going to go after the troop that they see first in the game. And if what they're seeing first is the E-Titan, then that means they're not going to be targeting your Super Bowlers, which can be great too for like super minions, because a lot of opposing players will put super minions into their CC. And when those super minions pop out, they get 5 power shots. And if those power shots hit your Super Bowlers, and if it's timed with like an Expo and an Archer Tower and Eagle shots, it's gonna take down your Super Bowlers super quick. But if you have the E-Titan in front of them, then they're targeting the E-Titan rather than your Super Bowlers, which gives your Super Bowlers a chance to live. But you have to remember, you can't have that E-Titan in your troop complement if you're using too many troops to funnel with. So
therein lies the rub.
Yeah, so it's a pull and tug, right? So pull and tug. It's a push and pull. We don't want to go down that
road. I don't know if the listeners could hear me just on this side of the radio. My brain
exploded. Your brain exploded
with thousands of possibilities of places to go with that. And it was like a deer in the headlights, but with joy of wow. I got overwhelmed by
but it
it.
but it's a push and pull, right? So if you
Yeah, it is
use
a rub and tug. Yes, you're right on that.
if you use too many funneling troops, then you're not going to have enough room for the big bulk of the main attack, the main push that you're wanting to do. So that's always the frustrating part whenever you're building your army is you're looking at the base and you're like, okay, dang it, I have to use an 18 space Yeti in order to funnel this corner. Well, the problem is if I use that 18 space Yeti, then that makes me 8 troop space short where I can't fit in an E Titan. And I really
Yeah.
want my E Titan. Well, let me look at this corner again. Okay, if I use a giant and a wizard and a loon, I may be able to get this down in order to funnel it properly. And, that's only 14 troop space. Okay, so that leaves 4 troops. I got to find 4 troops space somewhere. Where can I delete a troop? So it's always this back and forth
I'm
on
only gonna have 80 troop space for this wedge. What
we just
am I gonna
or we just need
That's
Supercell to grant us like 600 troop army camp space, and then it'll solve all our problems.
and that's why I like the Flame Flinger. Number 1, when I started using it, it I've been running out in those wars, just our normal wars. I've been running out of time. That's been big factor. It's like comes down to clean up most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
I forget a archer tower down south. It's just like I've got pets now. They're going. I see. Like I must be around that place where I'm balanced with a lot of the bases, or getting close to it. Like just a little bit more power. Because for example, I have TH14 healers. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
And my boulders are going right now. So I'm still at level 13 troops.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like I'm just about that at that level where things are balancing out
So something else to think about.
and that flame flinger keeps things going when I'm not like I'm so the log roller, it's done by the time I get to town hall. This thing,
Mm.
I can keep it going on the base, clearing stuff,
So
taking care of
something to,
stuff. You know what I mean?
something to think about is if you find in your attacks that you just have like one archer tower that you're missing, and some trash buildings, like you're just coming up short. Well, build that into your army complement. So 2 loons will take down any archer tower. So if you find yourself, oh man, like
Ye-
that I see where my troops are going to path, they're going to miss this archer tower. Well, plan on including in your army complement 2 loons that will fly over and take down that archer tower, and then bring 1 wizard to back up those loons to take down all of those trash buildings, and boom, problem solved. But that's 14 troop space.
Yeah,
So
and I'm always balancing that. Hey, this. I think it's coming like some of the times like from, so like you're putting stuff into the attack, right? And I think right now I can visualize about hopefully to the 70% mark.
mhm,
And then the rest of it is like, hey,
right?
it's starting to come together. Um, like this is where it should be going, and then we'll see. And so like some of the things that are wiping around the base, for example, I get to the end and there's just buildings outside trash that have been forgotten, um, or like some defenses just right as my troops kind of poop out on the one side, those things take it out.
Mhm.
And so I've noticed like that flame flinger is like in there. And uh if I start my attack and things go on and it's does pretty well, it's still working up that side. You know what I'm saying? Like taking
Yep.
out that stuff. And I've been putting like a Superman in behind it. And in the wild, I'm just getting more from that flame flinger than I did by taking out that eagle with the
Mhm.
launcher. So I think it's helping to like balance that. Like, look, you don't have full troops, the full power, but this is I'm getting more benefit from it than any of the other siege machines.
Yeah, it's an amazing siege machine. Like it's the most valuable siege machine if you can get the value out of it that you need to get. Like
Yeah.
I always in my Legend League attacks, I always carry a Flame Flinger with me. Like I always have it there. Now I hardly ever use it because in Legend League, pretty much every portion of the base is covered somehow to where it doesn't make any sense at all because I'm going to get like an arch tower and a cannon. That's it with my Flame Flinger.
Yeah.
But if I run across a base where I can tank a mortar with a Valk, for example, and I can take that mortar out with my Flame Flinger, and then behind that is an Inferno Tower, a multi-archer tower, a cannon, an AD, and Warden
Yeah.
statue. Like all of that is huge value that I can get with my Flame Flinger. But all I have to do is tank for that mortar in the initial portion of the attack. Well, then I'll throw it down in that instance. I would say 1 out of every 8 attacks, I'll
What
use the
attack are
Flame
you using in Legends?
Root Rider. So Root Rider spam right now is working really,
Okay.
really well. So that's the one that I did the video on
And
last week.
I put them in that catapult, but yeah, I'm gonna try that. I'm gonna play around with that E-Titan because it is my first week with it.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think it's about. I did put him in, but I just didn't understand him, so I wasn't sure what I was getting out of it. You know what I mean?
Right, yeah, and I will typically put a couple Root Riders in my clan castle. Now, if I'm using a siege barracks and they'll come in after the 2 P.E.K.K.A.s come out and the whole big bunch of wizards, the Root Riders will follow up, which is perfect.
Oh,
Or if they're in your Flame Flinger, maybe they'll be able to carve pathing through the walls, to kind of help your heroes or what your super
yeah.
bowlers get to where they need to get as well.
We do need to talk about the name of that though.
Of the Flame Flinger,
Yeah, Supercell, you're gonna have to just hire us here.
we
I
got to come
mean,
up with a Clash of Clans podcast name.
well, I think so. Well, that was one troop that I look at. I was thinking about it today. I'm not sure why they didn't name it Catapult. The
Maybe there was a
catapults.
copyright issue.
Yeah,
Like
maybe there
maybe
is something like with
that
that.
was like the name of something that was already, in the patent office or something. Could be.
Because I already have some hard time spitting out my words sometimes, and that Flame Flinger is one of those. Next time we should talk about the clan capital and
Oh,
just some attacks. I saw you had a new video out on that, and I really need to look at it because I'm at square one with the clan capital, or probably square two
mhm.
or three. But I was just talking in clan chat, and I was messing up some prioritization things and just
Oh, as far as upgrading.
there's a lot of buttons.
Yeah.
I'm walking around just pushing things.
I mean, the
Uh,
beautiful thing about the clan capital is it's just there. Like it's just there. I
I
mean, the only
like
thing
it.
it is cool. Like it's cool, but there's no like the reason I said that because there's zero pressure with your attacks.
Yeah.
Like nobody cares if you do well or don't do well. I mean, if you don't do well, it's going to mean a little bit less raid medals for everybody. But in reality, it's only going to be a couple less. Like
It's just like
it's really not that big
just
of a deal at all.
don't leave it at 93. Like I'm always like, oh, I gotta finish this off for
Yeah,
myself. I feel
that
so
sucks.
bad. Uh, so I was helping clean up this week because I've done that many times. I just feel so guilty. It's like,
Well, that's the worst because we in my other clan, we just had an announcement where somebody was going in and was just hitting each of the bases one time and leaving them all for other players to clean
yeah,
up. And it's like, no, no,
believe me,
dude, we
we
don't
all
do
want to
that.
do that.
No, we don't do that.
Yeah,
That's not teamwork.
yeah. This is a completionist clan. I
Yep.
mean,
Gotta
uh,
finish what you start.
yeah. I'm just going back to this is a rub and tug kind of clan here. Everybody's getting in.
Push and pull.
Yeah, push pull, streaking along. Shout outs this week.
Let me rack my brain. I don't think I have any this week. I shout out to everybody in the clan. Like it's been a lot of fun seeing new people join.
Yeah.
Who do we have joined this week?
Uh,
Rage joined last week, right?
Yep.
And
Helo's
then
new.
we had a couple new
We
a new player. I
Megabexo's
should have
been
got their
here.
names.
Moo's
Moo's been
back.
here.
GCBC's been given some good advice on that clan
Mhm.
capital, and I've been listening to the advice, but again, I don't know what I was just not thinking about prioritizing the things and labeling it. Gale Winds,
Oh, that's
Aloha,
right. Mhm.
Gale Wind
Aloha.
from
That's what I
Hawaii,
was thinking. Yeah, very
uh,
nice. Aloha.
DVS Bastard, Abhijit. Oh, and Cowboy Curtis, or Boots, I should say.
Yep. Boots. And
And
yeah.
shout out to D-Max. And man, you guys up top are just killing it. And Guinevere, too.
Yep.
Uh,
Gwen always kills it. She kills it every week.
yeah.
We
I've
love
been
Gwen.
watching Rage's attacks. I learned so much from his attacks, too. He's going in with root riders and stuff, but just on that funnel.
Mhm.
I've been studying like the Velks. He's good with the Velks. So I've been trying to throw some in. I'm gonna try to upgrade that. Get those leveled up too. Shout out to Maximus. Other than that, House of L at large, and the Clash community. It's been fun 12 episodes so far, and look forward to doing more and hearing about this angry jelly. I wish I could have got that.
Yeah, I don't know if I'll be using it anytime soon, but if we do have anybody in 12 Mutineers who decides to use it, then I'll probably do a video on it. So I'll let you know if that
Intent.
happens.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
All right, keep it clashy, everybody.
Keep it clashy.
Skilly beep boop, skilly boop.